Who the hell am I? Well,
Check
let's
in,
just say I'm a
check
typical
in.
American kid. If typical
No,
means growing up
that
in
didn't
secure-
work right. Hey, here we are. Good morning, 11:09. Was going to start this a little bit earlier today, but having some echo.
No,
That didn't work right. Hey, here we are. Good morning.
What are we getting?
What are we getting? Sorry, while I
Was gonna
iron
start
out
this
these
a little bit
initial.
earlier today, but
Ah, I see. Having some echo. The streaming thing is tough. It is very tough, but now's the time to make the mistakes because I don't have anybody watching. There's probably 0 people watching me right now. Drink lots of coffee, have lots of stuff to talk about. So, welcome. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance Daily Live Broadcast. This is what I'm going to turn into. The idea that I had, or the idea for this particular show, actually came to me about 2 years ago. 3 years ago. I'd been in 3 car accidents between 2017 and 2019. 3 car accidents almost took me out. There was a time at which I was laying in bed, recovering from my procedures, that I had to get just in order to walk again. And I thought to myself, if I can't walk again, I'm going to have to do something like live streaming or broadcasting or something I can work from home and sit in a chair or alternate between sitting in a chair and standing up. So this is it. This is the culmination of about, 2.5, 3 years of work. And this one's got purpose. This one's got some serious purpose. The purpose is we need to start dialogue. We need to start dialogue with people in our communities. We need to start dialogue with people probably in our homes, in our families. Nobody is talking still. And all I see is continuous toxicity, continuous just BS everywhere. Now that Trump's in office, it's looking like everything's just going to start all over again. So I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part by doing what I can do to get this off the ground. Yeah. How do I introduce? Let me introduce you to me first. You gotta check this out. So here we go.
who the hell am I? Well, let's just say I'm your typical American kid. If typical means growing up insecure, stuttering through sentences, dodging a critical mom, and watching dad hide in the shadows. I played football, not because I was great, not because I had confidence, but because that's what mom and dad said you had to do. Never graduated high school, never went to college. Learned to use my words to navigate life, just like Grandpa said. Make friends, make money. I experimented, took things apart, learned everything I could without spending time in a classroom. Classrooms bored me. I was the original ADD. I've sold wine to grocery stores, driven heavy equipment, caddied on the PGA Tour, was in a band, even went to LA in my early 20s to give acting a shot. Oscar nominations not included here. Dabbled in aviation, got a pilot's license, worked in sales most of my life, got recruited to Wall Street, and one day I even rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a crazy ride. So if you're here for some polished, pre-packaged show that strives for perfection, then this isn't your show. We strive for raw, unapologetically human, off the cuff, spontaneous, and real. If that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance Daily Broadcast. Let's get to it.
There you have it. That's a little slice of me. So we're having some streaming issues, as I planned. Might as well get all these issues out. Well, nobody's watching the show. Trying to figure out all the platforms that we're making it to. Let's see what we got. Actually, I'm just not even going to worry about it. I guess if the platforms receive the stream, I guess the stream will be located on the platform when this is done. trying to do too much at one time. I think that's kind of what I've been guilty of a lot of times. But anyway, what the Ackerman Alliance daily broadcast is. It's not going to be a podcast. I mean, it's I guess I could technically call it a podcast because it's what everybody else calls their live broadcasts with microphones and all that jazz online. Consider this more of a show. I'd like to turn it into more of a talk show, to be completely honest with you. Because we need more dialogue, because we need more communication and more getting to understand one another again. This is what I hope to do. Every day, we'll start collecting our followers, our audience, and people who also think they have something to say, something you want to add, something you want to bring to the table. It's not quite done yet, but here's how it's going to work. You're going to have the ability to get a link. You'll go to a website that I haven't figured out if it's going to be my personal company website or it's going to be something else, but I hope to have that for starting next Monday. You'll go to a website, you'll register, just basically prove that you're a real person. I have to do that because I'm live streaming. I can't have people just breaking in, doing something weird and then suddenly, you know what I mean? So you'll confirm your identity, confirm that you're a real person, have some people helping me work on that. And then you'll probably just get a link that you can drop straight into the feed. What it will look No, 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 no. I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. There we go. Still learning the buttons. Okay, give me some slack. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna make lots of mistakes. I've never been afraid of making mistakes. Can't be afraid of making mistakes. Can't be afraid to embarrass yourself, especially if you're gonna do something like this. But what I hope to do, in addition to just getting more people communicating and having discussions around global events, world events, life, liberty, being American, hopefully we'll learn some new stuff. Hopefully we'll figure some stuff out and be able to kind of keep heading in the right direction. And I know there's a whole section of the population who just thinks that that's impossible under President Trump. And it's not. Okay, it's not. But you got to use your voice. No violence, no sabotage, none of that crap. You got to use your voice. You got to use your voice, and you got to make a commitment to communicating. If there's a better way, then God dang it, let's find a different way. I have always been the kind of kid, adult, at every age. I started taking stuff apart when I was probably 3 or 4 years old. First thing I ever took apart was my dad's chainsaw. Peeled it apart into 500 pieces. Never got it back together. But that was a lesson, not to take something that complicated apart. But it taught me how to fix things. Or it started to teach me how to fix things. So then I got into more complex stuff, and I helped my dad build remote control airplanes. And, during my paper route, I, would fix my wagon. And we all have lived a different life. We have different backgrounds. We come from different places. We have different friends. We're different colors. We're different heights. We're all different. But I am going to find what makes us the same. That's the point of this. Find out what we have in common so we can find more things in common. Become more cohesive. Maybe I'm nuts. I've got to give it a try. You got to try, right? So without kind of, knowing exactly how the show is going to go, we'll basically, kind of kick off the morning. I am going to do a little bit of, since I've been in finance for most of my career, what I do now, if you watched the opening video, which kind of tells you a little bit about me, where I came from, what I've done as far as, different jobs during the course of my career, what I've probably spent the most time doing, and it's pretty eclectic, it's pretty broad. We'll talk about how I got there, how I got to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange and work for a Fortune 500 company on Wall Street. I've worked for Citigroup, Smith Barney Mutual Funds, Deutsche Bank, Legg Mason Asset Management. I've worked for some pretty big companies. Don't have a college degree, don't have a high school diploma. I did it kind of my own way, and we'll talk about that. I've got no issues talking about myself. In fact, that's kind of what I would prefer to do. Since over the last 6 or so years, with all this political lawfare mumbo jumbo, I've been through a couple divorces. I've been accused of a lot of things that aren't true, like a lot of other people out there. And those are the things that I need to make sure that we stop doing. We got to stop accusing each other. We got to stop trying to destroy each other's lives. For what? For ego? So we'll get into all that. I hope everybody can hear me. I don't even really quite know yet. Oh, wait, we got to put this on. Oh, geez. We got to put this on. No, not that one. Not that one. No, not that one either. Oh, no. What? I don't understand. Sorry. What is going? Oh, there it is. Nope, that's not it either. Nope, that's not it. What is going on? Sorry, technical difficulties. I don't know why I'm apologizing. There's maybe one person in this broadcast. Scroll text top. Sorry, folks. Oh. What the heck is going on? Interesting. That's supposed to be at the bottom of the screen. And it's been at the bottom of the screen for like ever. I have no idea why this is doing this. Huh. Very strange. Interesting. Well, I guess I'll just drag it down to the bottom. There we go. Put that on the bottom. Go like this. What the heck? Come on. Okay. Funny how technology just never, ever works perfectly. So, morning news. Daily just some updates on the markets. What I was getting into saying before I got distracted by all this technology stuff is for the majority of my career, I spent the majority of my career traveling the country for the big asset management companies. I had a job that not many people know about. It's actually quite interesting, which I will get into if there are people, if there's interest in it. I did what's called investment wholesaling. So I was a wholesaler for an investment company. But what do you typically think of when you think of a wholesaler? Well, I'll tell you what I thought of. When I first heard about the job, the first thing I thought about was, a wholesaler is somebody who sells something at a wholesale price, and then the person you sold it to will then sell it to a client at a retail price. Well, it's kind of that way, but an investment wholesaler basically represents actively managed money. And actively managed money is either a mutual fund, open end, closed end, an ETF, closed end fund, ETF, open-ended mutual fund, managed account, separately managed account. There's all different sorts of ways you can classify managed money or professionally managed money. There's retail financial advisors, which a retail financial advisor would be like a financial advisor at Edward Jones or Ameriprise or Raymond James or LPL or State Farm, an insurance advisor. So I represented managed money to as many as 13 Western states, to just about every firm in existence from the years 2000 to about 2015. So I spent all that time in the investment business. When I got out of that business, you can't trade when you're in that business. I mean, you can trade, like trade stocks. You can trade, but you have to do it with such crazy scrutiny, and you have to get all your trades approved, and everybody has to look at them and make sure you're not getting any advice. You know, all that stuff that Congress and, you know, the Senate should have to do to make sure that you're not making money you shouldn't be able to make. It's a very, very tricky industry, but Lester, did you just leave? Sorry, I think my dog just left the studio and didn't tell me, and either that or somebody's breaking into the place. Anyway, so we will talk about how investments might be affected. I am a registered investment advisor currently today. Full disclosure, I do not manage any assets for any individual, for any institution, for any firm, for anybody as of right now. Now, whether that changes or not, that is kind of still to be determined. I plan on that changing, but when that does change, it's going to significantly change the rules as to how I can broadcast and how I can bring news and information to you all and bring that to the world, because I don't ever want to go to jail. I don't ever want to get in trouble for anything. I don't ever want to do anything that's going to get me in any kind of hot water. Always been that way. I've always believed if you can't do the crime, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. So I very much never did the crime ever since I was a kid, just for that reason. So, but once I left the banks and got into some other businesses where I wasn't under that trading scrutiny, I started to teach myself how to trade. Representing professional money managers for as long as I did, you know, these guys were kind of like superheroes. You know, they were really good at what they did. And the ability for me to learn how, because I went into this industry, you know, no college degree, no high school diploma, not proud of that, but it is what it is. And I was able to learn the investment business while doing it. And I wanted to trade. I was like, what do these guys have that I don't have? I can do this. I can figure it out. Well, the first time I was able to trade without their help, or without the scrutiny of, compliance, I learned real quickly that trading is not easy. It's incredibly difficult. So that's what I do now. I've spent about 7 years building a strategy that I will run at some point, either via a Regulation D fund or a hedge fund, or in other ways. I'm not necessarily going to manage retail money, which means I won't have individual clients and, manage their 401ks and their IRAs and all that stuff. I haven't determined that yet. The Ackerman Alliance has some pretty big dreams, has some pretty big aspirations that I'm hoping a lot of you will start to learn about and either want to join us or not. Let's see, we're getting a message here. Weird. Interesting. So we'll go through that. We'll go right from news, politics, world updates, directly into like current events. It might change a little bit. It might change a little bit as we go. It's gonna progress depending upon how many people we get and how early we get people coming in. I'd love to be able to switch regular guests on a regular basis. That is the goal. The goal is to communicate with more people, get your voices heard on a larger scale. I mean, I do love the fact that, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't watched mainstream media or cable television or any of that garbage in so long. I would much rather watch YouTube videos of people doing what people do, telling me about themselves, showing me what their hobbies are or how they feel. I would much rather converse with people. That's just who I am. In fact, when I was 2 years old, my grandma couldn't get me to go to bed. She couldn't get me to go to sleep like ever. So she would just stay up and talk with me. And I've got audio tapes that is my grandma and I talking for like as long as 3 hours with a 2-year-old. I mean, talk about a patient grandmother. And then we'll get into some, entertaining stuff. I'm going to be putting some skits together. We're going to turn this into a show. I did go to LA in 1993 to make a run at acting. I did. 1993 to 1994. Almost a year. Couldn't quite stick it out the full year. The Northridge earthquake hit about a month after I got there and almost shook me out right then. But worked at the Santa Monica airport in Santa Monica and got to know like 12 to 15 pretty A-list celebrities by working at the Santa Monica jet terminal. Was on TV with Don Johnson once, hiding him from the paparazzi, got to park Tom Cruise's car. And I would just have conversations with these guys. I would just walk up and say, hey, you know where a guy can get an agent? What do I do if I got a script I want to make? Can I call you? I was that guy. And some of them were really kind and cool and, laughed it off. And some, looked at you like you were crazy and you should shut the bleep up. So I think you'll find that my experience is pretty broad when it comes to a lot of things. And I'll tell you about my background, my family, and I want to hear about yours. I want to hear about your background and your family. So I'm going to play my plug video again here because these first few shows, we just got to start getting some traction. Share this because this is about getting conversation and dialogue going with you guys. If you have a screen or if you have a setup at home where you can drop in just like this, or just even if you're looking at your phone, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. If you can get a video feed of your face and a microphone that's hot that you can talk to me, we'll get you the link. We'll drop you right into the guest. How I'm going to do it yet, but the idea is this. If, let's say we're doing a broadcast 3 weeks from now, regular old broadcast, I'm in the groove. We're doing skits, we're doing fun stuff, we're doing some news, we're doing some commentary, maybe I do an interview. Who knows? This can go anywhere. But let's say you have something that you want to talk to me about and we talk about it and you share a really interesting story and I have a really interesting response and somehow, some way, that video ends up going viral. Okay? If that video goes viral and it starts being and it's monetized, any video that you're in, I want you to be able to share in the monetization of that video if your video stream is in the video. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So as we do stuff, as we do combine, that's why it's important that you register before you link yourself to the live stream. So I know who you are. You know who you are. So if the video does go viral, make money, who knows? 5 years down the road, maybe this just becomes huge. Maybe I become famous. Maybe we do all sorts of great things that stem right from this project. And if that happens, and you were in that video, you're going to share in the revenue. You're going to share in the monetization. That's my goal. Now remember, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be doing is going to be probably governed by the rules that the SEC and, our federal government make up. Because I'm not going to offer investments. We're not going to talk about specific investments on this show. I thought about doing some live trading and showing everybody kind of what trading looks like and how I go about doing that. And we still might, but as little as I talk, what am I trying to say here? I got to keep it as generic and limited on talking about specific investments as possible. And if I do talk about specific investments, I need to make sure that I have no conflicts with said specific investments. Okay? General purposes only. That's one of the reasons why I haven't gotten into retail money management yet, or really any actual client funds, is because I needed to make sure that this project and this stream got going and I figured it out first. And I'll tell you what has been the absolute dream for figuring this out, if you haven't already figured it out, is AI. AI has given me now the ability to do literally anything. And we'll talk about that stuff. I will show you, if I find a way that I can streamline my broadcasting and media life, I'm going to put it up and we'll talk about it. And I want you guys to have that info too. Because I literally want to do this. It took me a while to get here. It took me a while to kind of get back to my old self. I used to travel and public speak for a living, could stand up and give a 3-hour presentation with no preparation, like it didn't matter. But a lot of really horrible things happened to me since 2015, and I almost didn't make it. I almost didn't make it. We'll talk about that stuff. I'm gonna get into it. I'm not gonna air out all my laundry, but most of it. I'm single now, which I will be single for the rest of my days. I want that upfront, fully transparent there too. I've been married twice. I've been divorced twice. I will not be dating anymore. I will not get married. I will not be in a relationship. I have devoted the next 10, 15, maybe 20 years. Hopefully I'll be in good shape when I'm 70. I've dedicated the next 20 years to making sure that all the things that I envision happening because of where we're going with AI and aviation and sports and golf specifically, investing, how all these things work. I have big plans for a lot of those years. So I'm done. I've done my marriage. I've been married. The first time I was married for almost 19 years. The second time I was married was for almost 19 months. Yeah, go figure. So, learned a lot. And I'll say as much as I can say. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not here to call anybody out by name or anything, but I want everybody to see what I went through, and I want to get your opinions on it. I want to hear if you have similar stories. I want to hear if you can help me. I think we can help each other. But I don't see too many people sharing personal stories. I have watched YouTube now on a regular basis, which, by the way, YouTube still suppresses most of everything I put online. And I think that's because YouTube thinks I'm a Republican, but I'm not. I am not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I have always considered myself an independent. I've always considered myself more liberal than conservative. But I don't think those meters, I don't think that applies anymore. Kind of where things have been these last 5 to 7 years. When I came out of high school in 1992, I voted for Ross Perot. He was like the Trump of the era. They tried to ruin him. They didn't want him running for president. He was getting too popular. And he started being like, I think they like made some fake photos of his daughter and threatened to release him and just like threatened to ruin his daughter's life. And so he dropped out of the race. So none of us knew this happened until now. But if anybody thinks I am going to sit out this 4 years of President Trump's second term, after what we just saw in the last 4 years, if anybody thinks I'm going to sit out talking about these next 4, 8, 10, 12 years and into the future, you're crazy. Like, I am a little nervous. I am a little nervous about what's going on in the world. I'm nervous about decisions being made by some real super narcissistic, horrible people. Yes. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I am an expert. Trust me, I am an expert in identifying narcissists, female and male. I'll give you those secrets down the road too. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. Okay? I'm not shooting for a kid's show. Like, I'm going to shoot to keep my show clean. I don't like kids that use foul language. I mean, I do use foul language sometimes, but my goal is to get people who are intelligent, to use that intelligence to show an example of how you communicate on difficult subjects and move past it. Apologize or accept responsibility or just be kind. Like, the whole point is to communicate. Like I said, I didn't go to high school. Or no, I didn't graduate from high school. I went to high school, but I didn't graduate from high school. 2 weeks short, I was kicked out for leaving campus with my girlfriend to go home and grab lunch at my house, which we'd done all year. And they'd closed the campus, and a woman by the name of Miss Ho, H-O, was the vice principal. And she told me that was the last straw. When we came back, she said, go home. So I went straight to the community college and signed up to take the GED, got a GED, did a little bit of college, and then just started working and figured out a way, you know, how to get into a pretty decent job. The most money I have made in any 1 year at a W-2 job was about $375,000 a year. That's not too bad without a high school diploma. So I'll hopefully give you the secrets on how to do that. I want to teach others how to do it also. You don't have to go to college to be able to do many things. Now, if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, you probably have to go to college and you probably have to study pretty hard. But I personally think you don't have to do that college would not hinder a person from doing any number of jobs. But anyway, that is where we'll save that for debates. We'll save that for the live stream debates and conversations, and I want to hear your guys' input. So make sure to follow. I don't know what platform you're watching this on right now. If you're on YouTube, please like this, subscribe, comment. Comment on what you think, how you think we should change it or add things, or if you have an idea, if you want to be a remote producer or get involved, let me know. Because right now, I am taking all and any ideas. I'm a one-man show. This is the beginning. Mark this date, 1/23/25. This is where it begins. Let's see how far we can take it. I will have a one-on-one conversation. This is what I will tell you. With my experience, what I've done in my career, the people I've, worked with and communicated with, and the topics that I've had to kind of be an expert on, I am willing and ready to drop in and have a conversation with anybody. Politician, high-powered politician, money managers, hedge fund managers, you name it. I feel confident that I can hold my own in a conversation, debating or discussing anything. Now, I'm not going to make shit up. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to, if I don't know something, if I struggle to keep up with a conversation or I don't know, I'm not going to get insecure and call anybody any names. I'm just going to learn. That's been my biggest advantage over so many others, is that I was always willing to listen extremely carefully, take in all the information, and really be able to connect and get to know people really quickly. Anybody who's known me probably knows that. And it's a blessing, but I'll tell you what, it's also a curse. And as we get into as I get into more stories and telling you stories about what has happened to me and why, just over the last, since I was a kid, they'll be ranging all over the place. When I was young, when I was, in my teenage years, what was the difference between there's an idea. You guys put in the comments, whatever you're in, whatever platform you're on, put in the comments on what kind of sections or what kind of ideas you have for some different segments of the show. One of the ideas I had was having a little segment of the show that's like, what was better in the 80s, or what was better in the 90s, or compared to the 80s. And we talk about what it was like then and what it's like now. And then we can maybe have a discussion about how we got there. If anybody has any ideas for how we can come up with topics or ideas, or maybe the night before we put out what the following day's topics are going to be, and we'll do it. And yes, if you come up with the idea, then you will just maybe have to be a part of this company or, the corporation that owns this broadcast. None of that's done yet, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to build 2 or 3 businesses over the course of the next 10 to 15 years. I'm going to show you guys how we do it, where we start, what we start with, how we structure it, how we put it together, how we execute on it. And we're going to be creating content over the next 10 years like a mad person. If you want to join, if you want to get involved in that, if you want to become a creator with the Ackerman Alliance, again, something I don't have yet, something I haven't figured out how I'm going to do, but the way I envision it is we all collectively have, let's say, so who's watched a video before that has 10 million views that's just like a single shot out somebody's window, or something, a security camera footage that somebody just started uploading and suddenly they're making a bunch of money? There is so many possibilities and ways to create content. If we kind of put our efforts together and we put all this content into one big content basket within the Ackerman Alliance Media Group, and then all the content that's in there, that's a part of that, then becomes a conglomerate of media, and who knows what kind of content we'll get. That's an idea. I'm also going to give out, I've kind of been an inventor my whole life. I had ideas. There we go. Sorry about that. Lost a cable. But I've kind of been an inventor my whole life. I've applied for patents. All you need to do is apply for a patent one time, and you probably won't ever file for a patent again. So I'm going to show you what my patent idea was. Now, this that I'm going to show you, I still have never seen. I do not know Actually, I'm going to see if I can find I'm going to see if I can find the original marketing video that I shot a long time ago. Oh, is it gone? Okay, hold on here. Hold on. We'll find it. Oh, wow. That's an old channel. Wow, I can't believe. Wow. I've got videos that I posted 14 years ago. Man, I feel old. Oh boy, I forgot about those videos. Oh, forgot about that video too. Where is it, Daver? Wait a minute. Somebody, how could somebody have my same username? That's ridiculous. Let's see. How can it be gone? It's not gone. Oh my goodness. Maybe it's gone. But anyway, I've applied for patents and I've come to the conclusion, oh, there it is. Okay, so this idea, you're a golfer, okay? If you're a golfer, you probably know what a speed cart is, right? You know, it's that cart that you push your golf. See, when I was a kid, you know, when a lot of people were, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, you dragged your golf clubs behind you. It, you know, with, you know, just like a pull cart is what they were called. Well, back in the late 90s, they came out, Sun Mountain came out with their push cart, which was a 3-wheel, kind of a bicycle tire, stroller-ish type cart to move your golf clubs around. Well, they became hugely famous. Well, I went and played golf one day, and I played the same golf course for like 18 years. And great golf course, by the way. But if you forget a towel, living in Washington State, if you play golf and you forget your towel on a muddy day, on a muddy, rainy, cold winter's day, you're screwed. It's sloppy. You have to, anyway. I came up with an idea back then. I called it the hub scrub. This is the video of the hub scrub. It's only a minute and a half long. So, why does that not work? What the heck? Oh, come on. Okay, we are gonna have to. There we go. We'll go to this. We'll go to this view. See if this.
Here we have the hub scrub.
Hope you can hear that.
First wheel-mounted golf club brush. The hub scrub is attached with 4 J-bolts.
God, I hope you can hear
on the
this.
backside, as seen here. It easily attaches to the outside of many spoked golf carts and just simply tighten from the other side. While you're playing, you can even use the hub scrub to clean your shoes. But what the hub scrub is really designed to do is to help you clean your golf club after you hit a shot.
Yes, it is. And it works unbelievable
Not all
for it.
Shots end up with a clean golf club afterwards.
Good line, huh?
And this could be a problem. It can take some time. Maybe you forgot your towel. As you'll see, there's a lot of mud on the club. Maybe you forgot your towel, or you don't want to get it dirty. So simply just walk towards the hole, drag your club on the hub scrub, and there you have it.
Huh? How about that?
And so, thanks for watching the hub scrub.
Right? I tried to patent that idea. You know why it didn't work? Why I didn't get a patent? Here it is. I was about $22,000 deep into applying for this patent. You start off with what's called a provisional patent application. And you're working towards getting a non-provisional patent application. I think that's the way it is, or it's flip-flopped. It's one of the two. So when you're doing a provisional search, you can't like see all the details. This is how it was explained to me. I mean, after the fact, but once you then switch that to a non-provisional, like the real patent application where the real money kicks in and all that stuff, then suddenly you get access to all the data, you know, however many times it's been invented or who's invented, you know, X, Y, Z, whatever. It wasn't until I had almost $24,000 invested into this patent application process that we found out that a inventor from Australia in 1994 wrote a claim in his, I think it was in his patent application, which he never was granted. He never was given a patent on any of this, but he wrote in a claim that his patent covered a brush that went on the wheel of a cart. But here's the deal. The cart was not a manually powered push cart. It was a golf cart that you drive. And yeah, because he made that claim, like 2 sentences in 30 pages of documentation, because he wrote it in a certain way, I could not get a patent on this. Here's what the patent attorney told me when I was in his 37th floor office at the Columbia Tower in Seattle. This is when I started to really despise lawyers. We'll get there eventually too, I promise. This is what he told me. This is what's called putting a turd in the proverbial patent punch bowl. I said, really? Somebody put a turd in the punch bowl, huh? I go, can you get a little bit more detailed on that, please? And immediately I'm starting to see like $10,000 bills in my head just flying out. Like, what did I just pay for? What did I just pay for? And then it all made sense. Once I kind of read that and I went back and looked at our emails and our communications, when I hired this super expensive patent attorney, I thought I was getting a guy like, hey, this guy's going to help me get a patent. We're going to do this. But really, he was just trying to find ways that he could get the most money billed. No help. So I called him out. I threatened to call the Bar Association. I threatened to go to the news media. We had a guy here in town called Get Jesse, where you call and, you know, have consumer complaints. And I said, I won't ask for all my money back, but you're saying that I owe another $7,000 from here? Nope. So I said, you either wipe that bill out and we just walk away. I call it the old walk away. Or I'm going to go and just have to blow the whistle on you guys and just tell you how fraudulent you are. And he sent me an email back and he said, and he started off really tough. Like, how dare you claim that I am this? And I'm thinking, oh, great. He's not going to back down. He's going to say, you know, da, 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 da. So after about 2 sentences of tough words, it transitioned to, but in the end, I'll send you your files and we will erase that balance and da, 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 da. Have a nice day. Long time ago, learned a big lesson, but this, yeah, I probably risk somebody else making this now because this is the first time I've had it online. I've had that ad up for, oh my God, that ad was 16 years old. Yeah, that ad or that little spot I filmed on the golf course 16 years ago. Still have not seen one brush that you mount on either a speed cart or a click gear cart or any cart on the golf course. You can play golf in muddy conditions without a golf towel if you forget your towel. You just walk, scrub your club off. So anyway, I'll give away ideas. All the ideas that I've had that I've never turned into anything, I'll just give out on this broadcast because I want to see people succeed. I want to see people move forward. I want to see people get off all the rhetoric and the BS and let's start planning for the future, because you know what the future is going to hold over the next 10 years? The future is going to be so much fun if we can not kill ourselves with all the technology and all the nastiness we've slung around over the last 8 years. Because I mean, these last 10 years have been ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. So anyway, that is that. What else did I want to cover for you guys today? I'm going to keep the show to an hour broadcast per day. I think that'll be about enough time. We're almost at an hour now. But it'll get more fun. It will get more fun. Yeah, that's right. Anybody remember this? Who knows what this is? Can you hear it? Anybody who doesn't know what that sound is hasn't been around long enough to have an opinion. No, I'm kidding. Everybody gets to have an opinion. Oh, no, that's not it. This is what I don't want to hear. I'm hoping that somebody will start passing this around. Get the word out. Help me launch this broadcast. Let's get to talking. I promise you're going to learn something. Promise. We're going to launch some cool shit up, cool stuff. We'll have some fun. Hopefully we get high amounts of interaction. Hopefully we get some good debates going. And who knows? I mean, I'm going to put out a bunch of opportunities or requests to go on some larger podcasts and kind of tell my story and what we're doing here and how we're going to do it and how we're going to launch it. And who knows? Maybe we'll get on. And I don't know, what do you say? You want to say let's say the first 10,000 subscribers. Anybody, I always put a little egg at the end of the videos, but I'll put it somewhere in the videos. There's always an opportunity for you. Let's say the first 10,000 subscribers from this point will, as long as it's legal, as long as it doesn't violate any of my securities regs or anything like that, the first 10,000 subscribers will have either a free membership to the Ackerman Alliance or free or have potential ownership and equity in the monetization of the channel. That's a deal. Okay, we got to take a little break.
Who the hell am I? Well, let's just say I'm your typical American kid. If typical means growing up insecure, stuttering through sentences, dodging a critical mom, and watching dad hide in the shadows. I played football, not because I was great, not because I had confidence, but because that's what mom and dad said you had to do. Never graduated high school, never went to college. Learned to use my words to navigate life, just like Grandpa said. Make friends, make money. I experimented, took things apart, learned everything I could without spending time in a classroom. Classrooms bored me. I was the original ADD. I've sold wine to grocery stores, driven heavy equipment, caddied on the PGA Tour, was in a band, even went to LA in my early 20s to give acting a shot. Oscar nominations not included here. Dabbled in aviation, got a pilot's license, worked in sales most of my life, got recruited to Wall Street, and one day I even rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a crazy ride. So if you're here for some polished, pre-packaged show that strives for perfection, then this isn't your show. We strive for raw, unapologetically human, off the cuff, spontaneous, and real. If that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance Daily Broadcast. Let's get to it.
Sound like fun? Let's make it fun. I'm going to do my best to make it fun. We got the studio set up here now. We might have to change locations. It's kind of a long story. I'm currently using some space in a longtime friend's old house that was built in the late 1930s. They call it a castle. It is kind of a castle. I'm helping him do some upgrades, helping him do some remodels and some really difficult, jack the place up, fix it, let it back down on its foundations. I've got tons of experience building stuff. Yeah, I've worked on Wall Street. I've also done just about everything a general contractor can do. I can build anything, fix anything. There's not much I haven't seen. I'm not an arrogant person. I'm not an egotistical person. In fact, I consider my ego dead. So I'm very good at taking abuse and criticism. That's what you get by growing up with a mother who's an alcoholic, extraordinarily toxic, hates men, and just wants to see scorched earth. But we're going to talk about all that stuff. Because how many people think we need a little less criticism in the world today? I do. There's way too freaking much of it. It's how people literally run their lives. But anyway, to get back to it, I am streaming from this location. We had a verbal agreement that I was going to be here for a year while we do the work on the house, and I was going to run the show out of here, and we were going to kind of launch from this once things got up and going. But his wife, she's kind of like my mom. Let's just put it that way. And remember, it's not only women that can be toxic. I know plenty of toxic men. Wait till you hear the story about my dad. Kind of a sad one. It doesn't, just because you're conservative or liberal or gay or straight or white or black or anything else and anything in between, it doesn't matter what color you are or who you are or what your gender claim is. People can be horrible, toxic, nasty. People can be people. That's what we are. We're all people. We're not Republicans and Democrats or independents or Green Party. Our political affiliation does not define us. Actors in Hollywood are not usually that intelligent when it comes to a lot of things. And trust me, I spent some time in Hollywood. My brother's been working in Hollywood since I left Hollywood in 1994 to come back home because I got kind of disgusted with the town. I've been around plenty of famous people, barons of business, and trust me when I tell you, there are sociopaths, narcissists, horrible people everywhere in life. Male, female, kids. But I've never in my life seen as toxic of an environment as we have today in all of our lives. We're Gen X. We were allowed to roam free. We were. I've got lots of stories that I'm going to tell. Please join us. Get your camera set up. If you've thought about maybe podcasting or starting to get your voice out there, use your voice to do this. I used to teach public speaking. I had a mentor. I got lucky and had one of the greatest mentors in the world. A mentor is somebody who believes in you, who pushes you up, who encourages you, who gives you opportunity to be successful and to come in to fulfill the skills that they know you have. Be a mentor for somebody. That's what I want to do. I've got two young boys, 20 and 14, or 19 and 14, almost 20. I wanted them to see what can happen if you put your mind to it, if you put pen to paper, you work hard, and you do something with a purpose. You got to have a purpose. Hey, they're almost grown up. So now, instead of retiring, which I may have retired if I would have been able to, but life didn't choose that. Life didn't choose that route for me. Life chose the route that I'm on right now. I've never in my life set out to achieve something down the road. I've never set goals. All I ever wanted to do was just keep enjoying life, keep trying new things, experiencing new things, meeting new people, building new relationships, and hopefully have somebody that I love that I can do it with. Well, the last one didn't work out. And it wasn't until I just gave up on it and said no more that now I know. Now I know where, why, how, and I'm putting in the effort to get there. And anybody can do it. Anybody can do what I'm doing right now if you want to. You just have to believe and have a purpose. So, whatever platform you're watching this on, subscribe to it, comment, help me with the algorithm, help us get some followers, because you can't prep for something like this. You can't be prepared enough to tell yourself you're just going to drop in and start live streaming and put on a good show. Okay, you can't. I didn't just drop in and do this. It took me almost 2 years of putting all this together, practicing some ideas. I had a rough idea, but now you just go. That's the only way to do anything. It's the only way to learn anything. It's the only way to get good at something is you just drop in and you do it. I skateboarded a lot as a kid. Built 4 half pipes over the course of my career. I hope to build 1 more half pipe before it's all said and done. But if you want it bad enough, you'll go and get it. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to let the broadcast run. I'm going to play this one more time, and I appreciate you guys. If anybody showed up, I have no idea if anybody showed up. Chances of somebody actually showing up here, I've done some test broadcasts, and I think I've had 1 person show up before, but we'll see. If anybody out there can get this out there in mass and moss, let's do it. Put the screws to me. Put thousands of people in front of me right out of the gates. Make me sweat. Deal? Good deal. Let's do it. Oh, that's the wrong button. Oh, that's the wrong button too.
Who the hell am I? Well, let's just say I'm your typical American kid. If typical means growing up insecure, stuttering through sentences, dodging a critical mom, and watching dad hide in the shadows. I played football, not because I was great, not because I had confidence, but because that's what mom and dad said you had to do. Never graduated high school, never went to college. Learned to use my words to navigate life, just like Grandpa said. Make friends, make money. I experimented, took things apart, learned everything I could without spending time in a classroom. Classrooms bored me. I was the original ADD. I've sold wine to grocery stores, driven heavy equipment, caddied on the PGA Tour, was in a band, even went to LA in my early 20s to give acting a shot. Oscar nominations not included here. Dabbled in aviation, got a pilot's license, worked in sales most of my life, got recruited to Wall Street, and one day I even rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a crazy ride. So if you're here for some polished, pre-packaged show that strives for perfection, then this isn't your show. We strive for raw, unapologetically human, off the cuff, spontaneous, and real. If that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance Daily Broadcast. Let's get to it.